Okay, now let's start the next session. Establishing startup ecosystems via industry, academia, government collaboration. In this session, our four panelists will discuss what Yokohama needs to become a global startup ecosystem. The panel moderator, Victor Muras, is supposed to take over from here. However, he will arrive a little bit late. So Yu Shinagawa will fill in for him for now.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, there's some emergency happened, so I will take over as a moderator for the, I think, first 15 minutes. But thank you everyone for joining us, and we have the wonderful 4 guest speakers today. And our session is about the startup ecosystem. So since we are focusing on the startup ecosystem, I'd like to start from the entrepreneur, global entrepreneur from Yokohama. So Aaron, are you ready to introduce yourself and share your business model and talking up your presentation? So mic is yours.
Yes, hello. Yu-san, thank you very much. And hello to everyone here and out in internet land. My name is Aaron Benedek. I am the CEO and architect of Mechatronic, a startup based here in Yokohama, Japan, and founded in 2021. We first joined the Yokohama startup scene via the Yokohama Crossover Accelerator, YOXO, in 2022. Right. So I need a clicker. Okay. Let's see here. And the issue that we are focused on is infrastructure at Mechatronic as being the key to enabling a safe and autonomous era of urban air mobility. The problem is that failure to effectively manage a region's airspace impacts the social implementation of air mobility. Existing systems are outdated and designed for use in airports. These systems do not scale to hundreds to thousands of vehicles in an urban environment. And finally, there is a lack of real-time intelligent flight path planning. So the solution that I came up with is called SkyCar, a unique patented hybrid approach spanning multiple domains which solve this very complex problem. As part of this process, it became necessary to build out a working proof of concept, simulating the functionality in both 2D and 3D worlds, so people could easily see how the system functioned and how it was different than traditional approaches. I also targeted an integration with drones, bringing the solution into the real world. Here is how I approached the problem. First, I reconstructed the problem in digitized space and time, where the foundational construct is space cells. I then overlaid a real-time reservation system, not for each monolithic route, but for each space cell through which the route must pass. Finally, each vehicle is required to recalculate their route in real time, as their routes may need to change. In the end, it is this unconventional combination of structure, rules, and real-time processes, as I found, the model which solved this problem. So multi-region is the idea where multiple instances of these individual regions, all consisting of space cells, linked together, could more effectively and efficiently allow the system to scale to cover large geographic areas. In the above example, we see that the Yokohama region is linked together with the Odawara region and the Hakone region, a popular vacation destination, via connectors or sky highways, all consisting of space cells, allowing traffic to flow safely in both directions over well-defined air corridors. Because these constructs, sky highways, are all based on the original SkyCar design, they consist of thousands to potentially millions of space cells, each with a configurable set of properties. This makes this solution ideal for transportation authorities and zoning professionals to precisely and to a granular level regulate the regional airspace. For example, Simply by configuring the entry and exit vectors for individual space cells, traffic flow may be provisioned in a single direction. The example being a one-way highway may be realized. This may be linked with external systems and be configured to either programmatically or arbitrarily, such as for rush hour, where in the morning there is a greater concentration of vehicles entering a metropolitan area, and the reverse is true in the evening. I do not make the rules. However, I built this system to allow the proper authorities who do make the rules to be able to do their jobs, allowing the paradigm shift into air mobility to occur in a managed, consistent, and phased-in style. As far as field tests go, we completed this year outside field tests with the city of Yokohama, which is Japan's first port of call and second largest city. Yokohama has been very supportive of Nekotronic and our mission to help enable a safe transition to urban air mobility. Beyond just the field test, Yokohama has introduced us to Japan Railways, and we have joined their mobility consortium earlier this year. We hope to begin discussions soon with Yokohama regarding field tests and building out a sky highway over a widespread geographical area. Let's see here. Got 15 more seconds. As far as our target markets go, this technology has applications across the board. We have two different business models for this technology, a short-term business model targeting the drone service industry and a long-term business model targeting infrastructure. So for now, I will hand it over back to you, and that's my 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much for your time management, and also thank you very much for sharing your presentation. And I see like there's a lot of collaboration with the local city of Yokohama, and using this cutting edge technology and collaborating with the local infrastructure, and then you got to see so many pilots in Yokohama. And I'm so sorry that I forgot mentioning other panelists to introduce their names. So before I moving on to the self-introduction, I just want to say their panelist's name first and then go to the next speaker's presentation. So today we have Yumiko Namiki from the DMZ. Thank you for coming. And Ayano Kagami from CIC Institute. And Arnold Ackler of Advantage Austria Tokyo and co-founder of TechBixCon. Thank you. So now I'd like to pass to Yumiko for your presentation. And Alan, could you please clicker to Yumiko? Okay. Okay, floor is yours.
こんにちは、皆さん、はじめまして。Hello everyone, my name is Yumiko. I'm in charge of Japan-related project at DMZ. I'm sure that most of you don't know about DMZ, so let me share and explain a little bit about DMZ. DMZ is a world-leading tech incubator based in Toronto. We equip the new generation of entrepreneurs with tools needed to build, launch, and scale highly impactful startups. Our mission is to change entrepreneurs' lives. We do this by providing connections to customers, capital, coaching, and the community as well. We are actually a university-based incubator, but all of our programs are open to any startups and people from all over the world. Throughout our 13 years of operation, we've supported over 800 startups. Our startups raised $2.55 billion in capital, and we've also created 5,000 new jobs in our community. Now we are operating in more than 10 countries and supported 1,500 startups globally. Let me a little bit share about our global locations. We want to build bridges and encourage more startups to look beyond borders. We have DMG powered incubators and global partners all over the world, such as Japan, New York City, Egypt, Cairo, Vietnam, Philippines, and more. We work with various types of organizations, such as governmental agency, incubators, and universities, and so on. I want to share a little bit about Japan-related project. Lastly, we are the only Canadian incubator partner for JETRO Global Acceleration Hub, which is catering Japanese startups seeking expansion into Canadian market. We've supported startups by providing coaching, mentoring, and also business matching. We also invited this year 8 Japanese startups to Collision, which is one of the biggest North America's tech conference happening in June. We help them to get exposure to Canadian market and also provide access, mentoring, and the potential customers and investors as well. That's all from my presentation. I want to a little bit share about myself. I actually went to a university in Yokohama, and I'm glad to be here as a panelist today. And since we are a university-based incubator, I'm happy to share a little bit about entrepreneurship education in the later part. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I didn't know you're graduating from the city of Yokohama, University in Yokohama.
Yeah.
Okay. And you also are collaborating a lot with the Toronto, the name of the university is Toronto, sorry.
Yes, we actually Toronto Metropolitan University based incubator.
So I'd love to hear more about the entrepreneurship education later on. Thank you very much. And okay, so now move on to Ayano. Are you ready to present yourself?
Thank you for introduction. So I'm Ayano from CIC. So CIC stands for Cambridge Innovation Center. So yeah, let me introduce myself a little bit before introducing about CIC. So my background is molecular biology and finished PhD from University of Tokyo in 2011. But during that process, I realized that my passion is how to connect academia to society, but the university itself cannot do it because maybe, as you know, so the university system doesn't work, and also university don't have a capable person in the system. So that's why I changed my career to the government and joined Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology, and worked on research and development policies, especially in life science and medical field. And also I got a chance from study at MIT with the support from the government. And there, so I studied about I met the startup ecosystem in Boston and Cambridge. Maybe you know the Boston and Cambridge, I think the most famous innovation ecosystem in the world, and many startups coming from that area. So that's why I studied about the startup ecosystem there and tried to compare with the Japanese startup ecosystems. So that's why I changed the career. But after I back to Japan, so I spent 2 years in the ministry, and then so I changed my career to CIC. And so my original passion is how we can build the innovation ecosystem and community in Japan. So let me introduce about CIC. So CIC stands for Cambridge Innovation Center. So that's name, literally show what we are doing. So we are founded in 1999, so more than 20 years ago, and operates the innovation center all over the world. So compared with not much number compared with DMZ, but we have 8 innovation campuses all over the world, and also 2 shared lab space for startups, biotech startups. And actually, so Tokyo is the center of the only center in East Asia. And the next, in Japan, so we are have an entity as CIC in Japan, but we have two arms. One is CIC Tokyo. So maybe most of you know that CIC Tokyo is the biggest innovation center in Tokyo, and we have more than 280 companies in that facilities. So with more than 6,000 square meter office space, and also we operate more than 200 events per year. And in addition to that, that facility, we have a consulting arm, called CIC Institute. So I work for this institute, and so we are specific team to support startups, especially in deep tech area. So we are running several acceleration programs for deep tech startups, and also support their global expansion with a collaboration using the network of CIC itself. So here is some example of what we are doing. So our main focus is to support growth of startups and to build startup ecosystem in Japan, and also the cities we are located in. And so for that purpose, we manage also several startup support programs with collaborating with local cities like the Hiroshima Prefecture or Ibaraki Prefecture, and also with the support from Ministry of Economies or JETRO. So we are supporting startups to expand their business to abroad, especially in this kind of global expansion program. So our team closely work with CIC Cambridge and try to connect the ecosystem of Boston and Cambridge. And also to support this kind of activity, so we sometimes operate many events or seminars for startup pitch or some lectures or seminars to support startup ecosystem growth. That's also what we are doing in CIC. Yeah, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much for having here to be here today. And I also went to CIC Tokyo frequently, and there's a mix of the investors, academia, and entrepreneurs, and the local governments, also the nation government. So I see that you are really close working with all the stakeholders. So I want to dig in more later for how you creating a good relationship with each stakeholder. So
Yeah, sure.
okay, so thank you very much. And last but not least, Arnold, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Back. Okay. Nice to see you all, and thank you also to my co-panelists. So we are already using CIC a lot, so thank you for the cooperation. I can attest it's a wonderful place. We often have our seminars there too, so thank you for the cooperation. And of course, we hope to do more with DMC in the future too. Who am I? I didn't include an introductory slide because today I'm not here as what I am. I'm in Japan. I'm part of the Austrian Embassy commercial section, more to say the trade promotion organization that we are, Advantage Austria. So we are basically doing what others do too. We help Austrian companies succeed in Japan. But our trade promotion organization has from a long time ago already seen itself more an innovation and internationalization agency for the Austrian economy, for the Austrian companies. So not only supporting export and trade flows, but really helping Austrian companies to innovate and getting new input also from outside the markets. And in that respect, we placed a lot of emphasis on startups already. We already did the first startups event quite some time ago when Tokyo and also Japan was not yet really much of a hub for startups. We did our first really big event together with Nikkei, the Keizai Shimbun, in 2016. That was a big pioneers festival, 1,200, 300 people, Austrian and Japan joint venture event. And after that, we were all like, how can we continue? What can we continue from there? And if you remember 2016, there was still very few hubs. I'm not sure whether CSC was operating at that time. Maybe not yet CSC in Tokyo now. So we had the idea to continue this kind of event, startup event, as a platform that's open also to other countries, so not only Austria, of course, including Japan, and then also make it in a sustainable way so that we could follow up every year without having a 1,000, 2,000 people event, which of course costs a lot of finances and is a huge administrative effort. So what we did is, and we have no hardware, so I have no facilities, we invented the Tech BizCon. That's we, when I say we, is us, the Advantage Austria team, and the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Lucas. We both came together and figured out that it would be good to have a few European countries combining forces, and of course doing something with Japan together. So the idea is, and was at that time, and this 7 years later still the same, is that we are trying to build an innovation bridge between Europe and Japan, where we see our countries that engage in the TechBizCon from the European side. So this year, for example, it's Belgium, Germany, and Austria, as bridges for Japanese startups, for Japanese corporates to go to Europe, and the other way around. So we always invite a lot of Japanese startups, and since we are a governmental, semi-governmental organization, we on our side always have the FDI organization, so the Invest in Austria, Invest in Germany, Invest in Belgium organizations as part of this program. So that means that we offer a lot of opportunities for the Japanese startups to either win prizes, like we have free booths at major trade fairs, like the Hannover Messe, which is a huge engineering fair in Germany, or we have like 2-3 week acceleration tickets for Europe, Belgium, Austria, so that people, startups from Japan can really experience the market in depth and then decide what to do next. For us, it's important also to offer something as an alternative to, of course, Silicon Valley. So, of course, in Japan, the startups all know about Silicon Valley. Everybody dreams or thinks about going to the US, but the US is also a very difficult market. On the other hand, Europe has a lot of similarities with Japan and Japanese thinking, so we want to offer this as an alternative for Japanese startups. And what is very cumbersome for, at least the idea is, for Japanese startups, that Europe owes so many different countries, so many different regulations, very difficult to do. So we want to facilitate that by providing good entry portals. And of course, since we are not a hardware-based, but the platform, what are we doing? What is kind of making the TechBizCon? So what we say is change and flexibility is part of what we are. So every year we change the location, every year we change the vertical, we change our local partners, that's the accelerator, and we also change the composition of the countries. So last year there was Italy there, before we had Switzerland and so on. So we changed the countries, we changed the location. So we've been at CSE one time. This year will be at Q's. That's not because we don't like one of the locations, but because we want to introduce as many of the Japanese locations that we have here to the European countries, to the European startups and corporates. Another thing is we want to keep it small. So we don't want to do a like 500, 1,000 people event. We want to have 150, 200 people to have the interaction going. And then play to some of the strengths that we have. First, strengths as countries. So in Europe, the Central European countries that we usually enlist, Germany, Austria, Swiss, Italy, Belgium, those are all very similar to Japan in the mindset. Engineering, monotsukuri, is one of the big strengths of these countries, as it is in Japan. So that's one thing we do. Every year we change the topic. So it's AI, it's this year we have semiconductor, we had robotics, we had health, everything. It's always a tech topic. And then, of course, the other thing that we do is we focus on what we as trade promotion organizations do best. We organize B2B talks. So for us, it's very important that the startups don't come for one single event for 1 day or 2 days, but that we have a 10-day, 2-week program where we try to have them sit down with corporates, in, of course, investment companies too, and arrange those single meetings. And part of the change, of course, is also that now, since we're talking a lot of universities, we are also this year for the first time engaging a university in Tokyo and cooperating actually with students, 3rd year, 4th year students in the Open Innovation University, and they help us individually coach and get data for startups and will be part of the event. So kind of creating an exciting event. So last but not least, so 12th of December, we have our event in Tokyo at Q's Shibuya. If you're interested in semiconductors, in any kind of area, health, of course, production, smart factory, please come to talk to me later. I send you an invitation or check the QR code here. Thank you so much, and I think I overdid.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much again. And now I see that all the trends from the Canada and the CIC in the States, and also from the Austria and the other European countries, like they have each uniqueness and the commonality as well, like how to engage with the local industry, and also how we can engage the university or the academia. So yeah, maybe I can dig in more. But now I have a special moderator is coming here finally. So I would like to take over to you, Victor, and please say applause to him. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for filling up. Actually, Yu is also an entrepreneur. She probably was modest, but she runs her own startup and is also one of the champions of female entrepreneurship. So the round of applause is for her. So thank you very much, Yu. Excellent. I see that you have done all your presentations. I was following online while I was almost arriving here. And I think it's a fantastic overview for everyone to understand not only what is going on connecting Japan ecosystem globally, which kind of factors are here, but also what kind of startups are coming, and specifically in Yokohama. So, Aaron, your startup is very unique, but it's very Japan-based startup. It's deep tech. It focuses on science behind it. It's strong. And you're also doing the urban environment, which I think Japan is particularly special. You've been working here in Yokohama for a bit, and you have the entrepreneurship experience. So I would like, in this second round, if you can tell us a little bit how it is to be a foreign entrepreneur here in Japan, and then what is your journey with Yokohama? How Yokohama support you or not? What do you see as opportunities? All these programs you talk about, you have JOXO, you have Skydeck, you also have collaboration with the city for testing. So that would be great. And then for the rest of the panelists, what I want to understand is they come from very interesting startup ecosystems. All of them advance, and they connect with those startups. So I then want to understand your vision on that, your perspective. So let's start with the real experience that happened here. Aaron, I pass it to you. You're going to need the microphone.
Right, so we're just going to rewind here a bit into some slides so I can kind of get my bearing to this question and proceed to answer as far as I can. All right, so yeah, Victor, thank you very much for your question. Great to see you again. Let me just keep my timing here. And so as Nekotronic Incorporated, we incorporated to a Kabushiki Gaisha here in Yokohama. This was in 2021. And this was actually an interesting experience because for the very first time now, as a CEO of a startup, I had to not only coming from a technical base where I built the technology that I described in the previous question, and now having to sort of navigate being a actual startup and how to do that, being a foreigner in Japan. So luckily for me, I have a very loving and caring wife who manages the logistics from a Japanese standpoint, being a company, and I get to focus mainly on the technology, which is where I feel I can provide the most sort of benefit to the community and to society in general. So these days, this type of technology is actually quite unique, and normally this type of advanced research and development is the domain of universities. It's the domain, are well-funded. It's conducted by large teams of researchers. Associations that are industrial or national or have many participants. But that is not the case here. We are in an early stage, husband and wife, startup in its purest form. And I just sort of stayed true to my nature. I focused on the technology. I built and patented our technology by myself, and my wife managing the logistics of the company and being a Japanese company. And that has been quite a struggle for many different reasons. I mean, I tried to choose a focus, a theme that I thought was so far out in the future that we would not have many competitors. But that seems to have accelerated now to the point where people are both trying to figure out how to partner with us or how to compete with us. And that's very interesting because I guess, either very lucky to have chosen the right time and have the right skill set and the resources to proceed and be granted the patent for this technology. So competing with us is probably not the best idea, but at any rate, there's probably different ways to solve this problem, and good luck with that. For the company, we have a few partnerships for various aspects of SkyCar. For traction, we are members of various mobility consortiums. I mentioned earlier, we're members of the Japan Railway Consortium, introduced by Yokohama, and we're very grateful for that. We have briefed the Japan Cabinet Office and the United States Department of Defense alongside Boeing and Georgia Tech University regarding this technology. And this year we have exhibited at 3 events so far, including the Japan Mobility Show, and we are exhibiting our SkyCar technology here at Y-Ships 2023 in the exhibition hall. So please stop by our booth in the exhibition area for a demonstration of SkyCar and the multi-region and Sky Highway version. So I think the last I'd like to conclude here is, where did I put my clicker? All right, here it is that this technology is laser focused on sustainable development goals. I feel that that's very important. I used to be sort of, wasn't quite sure what the SDGs are. I just saw that circle in the ring and I thought, okay, but this really targets toward sustainability, enabling urban air mobility, which in turn would help disperse population units, densities to rural areas, which could help people live out their dream lives by a lake while still remaining physically connected to society. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Aaron. And so what I'm hearing from you is in Yokohama, you have unique advantage that fit your venture. And first of all, thank you for being in the panel, because I know sometimes for entrepreneurs it's difficult to speak public. It's not an easy thing. I know you prefer to do things and do the coding and everything, but thank you for sharing all that. So I hear that I hear the support of incubation kind of programs with JOXO, but also Yokohama helping you finding other corporate partners, do things also for testing. I also hear something very interesting for other startups that can hear that I think is only, Yokohama probably is one of the best, which is that partnership with U.S. government, especially on dual use, with defense. And dual use has many applications that are civil in nature and very interesting. Now, for everyone to understand, I mean, defense funding was the fuel of Silicon Valley and many entrepreneurship kind of areas, especially now like space technologies or frontier technologies. So very interesting that you use Yokohama platform for that and connect it that way in something that is obviously a dual use because it's infrastructure, it's civil infrastructure and things like that.
Yeah, if I could just add very, very quickly, Yokohama supported us to go globally with this technology, and we have applied for patents in offices around the entire world. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, so I think that's very unique in Japan, so thank you for sharing that. And the other thing I hear is you are in Skydeck, which is a JETRO program supporting startups. JETRO is bringing global accelerators here, and Skydeck is from Berkeley doing that. So now I want to move to Yumiko, because she is also very connected with a university, the second largest in Toronto, and actually have one of the largest facilities in Toronto. We know the other one, which is Mars, but I think DMC is very strong and I'm very focused on university side. So I want to hear from your side, why do you come to Japan? What do you see the connections are beyond you being Japanese? I mean, just why DMC is coming and why are you bringing it? And what do you think is the interesting points that you see here? And then why Yokohama?
Why Yokohama? Yeah, as I mentioned, I actually went to university in Yokohama, And I know there are many competitive universities here in Yokohama. So I highly suggest like offering entrepreneurship like education a little bit more in those like educational institute. So let me share a little bit about what we are doing in Toronto to increase talent for startup ecosystem. We have like several programs for high school and university students. One of them is summer camp program, which is an 8-week intensive incubation program, which help university and high school students create innovative solution to economic and social gaps. And not only we are providing the opportunities in building startups by themselves, we are also providing opportunity in working for startups working startup for students. So one of them is we created startup certified program in business school in Toronto Metropolitan University. So in this program, students can learn how to build startups from subject matters expert throughout the program. And at the final stage, they can work for DMG startups as an internship for a few months. So they can, the student can get first-hand experience while they are student and during the program. And the other is the government of Canada. We very closely with the government as well. So Government Canada provide funding to startups to subsidize student wage. So this program encourage startups to hire university students in their company to scale up more. So I think these student supporting program, and it allows students to be more interested in working for or building startups, which I believe foster long-lasting and thriving ecosystem in Yokohama as well.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to see the connection with Canada and the education part, and I think there is much more that you can get here. And as you pointed out, the universities here are great, and you're going to get much more. I hope that this continues.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we're going to pass it to Ayano. And Ayano, you represent CIC, which is the largest startup campus here. And as you mentioned, you have a focus on deep techs. You started with biotech. And for full disclosure here, I'm senior advisor of CIC, so I just want to everybody to know that part. But for that reason, I know that you guys have that connection, and you are working with the government in some programs, taking startups into this deep tech journey to scale up. So from that perspective, and understanding the whole ecosystem here in Tokyo, can you share how do you see Yokohama? What do you see the opportunities there for entrepreneurs, and how that connects with the whole ecosystem?
Okay, thank you for the introduction. So I think it's better to start with why CIC come to Japan or Tokyo. Yeah, the story comes from some reports, Startup Genome's report about the ecosystem city. So as you mentioned before, for the startup ecosystem or innovation ecosystem, there is essential 5 stakeholders. So one is entrepreneurs and university and the governments and the finance and big companies. So in the case of Japan, so we have all these stakeholders. But the ecosystem itself is weak. The reason why Japanese ecosystem is so weak is we don't have, so each stakeholders don't have good connections. That's why CIC come here. So CIC is building the startup community. That means the connection among the stakeholders. So CIC at that time, CIC found that if CIC comes to Tokyo, so we can build a startup ecosystem in Japan and make it more better, or make it more make it better. That's why we come to CIC. And as from the perspective of Tokyo's startup ecosystem, so we are now find the yes, that the connection becomes much better than before, but the problem is, I think, the globalization. So there we have so many startups who like to go global, but actually the teams, the team of startup is not global. So most of us are so Japanese, and most of us cannot speak English, and also there lack of diversity. So I think that's one challenge of Japanese startup ecosystem, and also in Tokyo. And what I found the opportunity in Yokohama is, I think Yokohama is historically international city. So I think from that aspect, I think the Yokohama have much more possibility or capability to have a global startup ecosystem in Japan.
Well, thank you so much. I think you're very nice thinking about the opportunities here, but you are also very modest because you speak English, Yumiko speak English. I think you have enough right now growing that part, and you're contributing to that global connection. So I think the work you guys have been doing have been amazing, and we want more people like DMC also to come here and have more openness here. But there has been a change since you started, right?
Yeah, that's right. So since we started, CIC Tokyo, so there are much more change. So there is much more support from the government to send startups from Japan to the global. I think that was mentioned by Yumiko and Arnold. So the JETRO is right now really focusing on sending Japanese startups to global, biggest startup ecosystem like Boston and Cambridge or San Francisco, San Diego, and from this year there are many programs.
Yeah, so please collaborate more with Yokohama, or even better, open here too one day.
Yeah, that's right. I think Yokohama City also have a small program to send their startups to Boston and Cambridge, and CIC Cambridge supports that one.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so now I'm going to pass to Arnold, and I am very interested on your perspective because, Arnold, you've been here for a long time. You've been here connecting startups, and as you mentioned, from ecosystems that mindset-wise are very similar. And they think also about science, and the way they think and they work is similar, especially in terms of startups and innovation. And you've been focusing on specific sectors, very interesting ones every year. And you've been working with almost all the interesting partners of the ecosystem. I know you have some remaining ones, but you're ticking all of them, so you have a lot of knowledge. So how do you see that the interest of Japan with European startups, especially the Central Europeans you work with, and what do you see in Yokohama that could click even more?
Yes, thank you for the question. So I talked a little bit before in the beginning about how we connect and what we feel connects European countries and Japan. It's the engineering background and so on, so I'm not going to repeat that. For Yokohama, I think, and that's already happening for the last 3 years, I think, that Yokohama kind of joined the TechBizCon as a kind of supporting partner. So we are actually already working with Yokohama every year. The thing is, how can they join, or how did they join? It's, of course, we have the main event in Tokyo, but as I said, we do usually a 10-day or 2-week program in Japan. So for us, it's very important also to do so-called breakout sessions. No? So this, of course, depends a little bit. As you said, we have different verticals, different topics. So depending on the topic that we have, there's often an opportunity to work with Yokohama. Why? First of all, it's the second biggest city, so Yokohama has almost in any tech area, they have something important. Then also, and we are sitting right here in this area, this is the convention, and next door is the trade fair area. So actually Yokohama is hosting quite a lot of interesting specialized trade fairs. So I think 2 years ago, for example, we had automation smart factory, and at the same time there was the robotics fair here in Yokohama, Pacifico. So what we did, of course, is we joined with Yokohama, they provided us some space, and our startups could also engage in the trade fair. So there's always, depending on the topic that we do, there's always a good opportunity to work with Yokohama in general. So what I also want to say is just you have, from an outside perspective, of course, almost everyone in Europe knows Yokohama by name. They don't know the specifics, but they know Yokohama. But you have a little bit of the problem, of course, that you have the big brother, Tokyo, really close next to it. So for us Austrians, we're used to that. We have the big brother, Germany, right next to us. So we also have to deal with that situation. How can we deal with that, and how can maybe Yokohama deal with that? You have to stand out. So you have to play to your strengths and you have to stand out. Stand out means, and this is a difficult thing to do, but you have to have some of those lighthouse projects. So when we talk about smart city or the drones that you mentioned, yes, so Yokohama should do some leap in some areas that make them appear on a global media, on a global landscape, because then everybody associates, Yokohama, that's where the cars are already flying or whatever. It doesn't matter what topic or what vertical is, but you need to have one or two lighthouse projects that really make them the worldwide media. Second is you have a lot of strengths in the city. You have good life sciences. You are also the new mayor places a lot of focus on the educational technology. So play to the strengths that you have where the city and the prefecture is investing already. Mibio, the health sciences. There are some areas. Don't play all the areas. It's too much. We see that the same in Vienna. Don't play all the areas. It's too much. Focus on some areas that really are specific strengths of your city.
Thank you so much, Arnold. And I'm going to take 2 minutes from the audience, if you allow me, because I want a final thought from each one of you. And I'm going to start by you, Arnold, because I'm going to go the reverse this time. And imagine we do this panel a year from now, which I hope you come back, and we talk again about Yokohama ecosystem. What would be something you would like the Yokohama ecosystem to be at that point that had changed from now? What would be your wish? That when you come here next year, this has happened. And if you can do it in one sentence, that would be great, 30 seconds each. So Arnold, and then
Maybe even less than one sentence. It's just to simply do one lighthouse project.
Which one would that be?
We can have the flying cars, or the flying cars is maybe Osaka Expo, so maybe let's have the flying drones for the last mile delivery in Yokohama City Central Government Office or something.
At the end. I know, your time.
I think this is the same as Tokyo. What is we need some kind of community and a good center to attract every stakeholders of innovation ecosystem. And what we can do what CIC can do here in Yokohama.
Excellent. And Yumiko from DMC?
Yeah, like as I mentioned, the entrepreneurship education type of things, we can also, of course, help. And also we can help startups. The Yokohama will be the hub from all over the world. And the startup will launch their project and business like all over the world from Yokohama. It will be great, I think.
Thank you. And Aaron,
great. So I believe in singularities. Singularity is where the world does not remember what it used to be like prior to that singularity happening. And I really liked Arnaud's comment, focus on something dramatic, and don't try to boil the ocean. And yeah, I would like to see a sky highway from here to Hakone or Chiba, and flying, we can do this, and we can do it now, and stop by our booth, we can see. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much to all of you. I hope to see you next year here and your wishes come true, and then we can build over that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Please give a big round of applause to the older speakers again. Thank you.